Ephesians 6, verse 14, part 1. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. How do we stand against evil? We stand against evil by putting on the full armor of God. The first armor is having your loins girt about with truth. Stand, again, means to appoint to place in an active and upright position. So, we are still taking an active stance like a warrior. The meaning of having in the Greek concordance is to hold, to have possession of. Loins have a very interesting meaning. It means procreative power. That is power that is capable of reproducing. We have unending power. So why are we afraid to stand up to the forces of evil? It is our duty to do so. Girt means to fasten on one's belt, to bind about all around. Why the belly? The belly is where every seed is born, not just physically, but spiritually. That means every vision, every calling, every spiritual passion, that fire within that will not be quenched comes from the belly. Therefore, if that vision, calling, isn't built on truth, it loses its power. Power without truth is carnal power, not dominion power. Truth in the Greek concordance means being true in doctrine and profession, speak the truth, not concealing. Therefore, we as representatives of Christ must expose the lies wherever we go, walk in truth, and speak the truth, so that the power granted to us by Jesus to fulfill his purpose will increase and be never-ending. Let's go to the last section of verse 14, which states, having on the breastplate of righteousness. How can you have the truth if you are living in sin? Yet, the church is daily living and walking in sin and justifying it. You don't have to live in sin. God has given you a weapon that will free you from sin and become victorious over sin. What is most interesting about this last section of verse 14 is that the word have has a different meaning than the previous haves in chapter 6. Why is that? I believe it is because God knows we struggle with sin. Sin is our greatest weakness, and yet he has made a way and has revealed this in his word. In this instance, have in the Greek concordance means to lurk. In other words, plot assassination, immovable, steadfast, ambush, murderous purpose. Therefore, you ambush with murderous purpose any trick of the enemy to ambush you from holding on to steadfastly your righteousness. Let's look at what the Greek concordance states about the breastplate. Breastplate is the chest, thorax, in other words. Corselet. The corselet is a piece of defensive armor covering the body, the main part of the body, which is the trunk. The breastplate protects the heart. The meaning of heart in the Greek concordance is the mind, will, and emotions. These are areas that cause us to sin. Sin comes from a thought or feeling and then breeds into an action. Mark 7:21 states, "For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, and evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man. When you look up the word within in the Greek concordance, it means from inside, inward. Heart means the thoughts or feelings, mind. That's why it says in the word to take captive every thought to the obedience of Christ. Our worst enemy is our mind, and we must guard it and transform it with the Word of God. Satan knows that the way to the soul and spirit is through the mind. It is through the mind that actions produce fruit, be that good or bad. Satan is constantly trying to kill, steal, and destroy us and keep us from bearing good fruit by ambushing our mind, and we in turn must ambush his tricks before he has a chance to do damage to our purpose. Heart in the Greek concordance also means destitution of spiritual perception when speaking of hardness of heart. Perception in the dictionary means insight, intuition, and knowledge. This is why so many Christians have so many confusing ideas. Their perception is destitute. This is why we must always pray for wisdom, knowledge, understanding, discernment, insight, perception, and humility. We need to go before God and ask Him to renew our perception so that we won't be deceived by the wiles of Satan.